Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Not a day goes by.
You were so damn lucky, and there must be a reason why he chose to forgive you. You got a farewell and was able to spend the last days of his life with him.
But now you're in a situation where you don't have your best friend anymore because one, somebody decided to give you alcohol.
The only reason that we went through this plea bargain is because I did not want to put my family through the trial of seeing photos of Alder A. And when your attorney says that it may be decades and decades before we can talk, that's me. Maybe my wife can talk to you sooner, but I don't know if I can.
I'm so sorry. State, you said there was a issue with the Texas driver's license suspension part?
Yes, Judge, we had originally put 2 years, but in the code, when a defendant is under 21 years, it's 90 days. So that's what we needed it to be changed to.
And that's been explained, Your Honor, to my client, and we understand and are in agreement.
And you said 90 days?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Mr. Velasquez, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonition. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with the offense of intoxication manslaughter. That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty of count 1. We're proceeding with sentencing.
Your Honor, we are asking for, I believe that a PSI and a TAP evaluation would be necessary so we could address any of those determinations at sentencing.
And yes, Judge, as well as we will have multiple victim impact statements on this case. So it might take a little bit of time.
All right, Norma, we're going to close the record. Mr. Velasquez, could you unmute for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what's going to end up happening is there is going to be a TAP evaluation. There is going to be an interview that's going to be done by probation. And based upon the interview that's done by probation and the pre-sentence report I receive and what other evidence is presented, the court will make a consideration on whether or not to follow your plea bargain agreement. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's very important that you make all of your appointments. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, could you go to breakout room number 2, please, with Mr. Ibarra and Meredith, if you could go to number 2, please. And Mr. Velasquez, I'm going to send you to 2 as well. And if you all could let Ms. Ferguson know what your dates are and how many witnesses you have so she can give the court a date for the next hearing. Department for blood testing. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State?
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Any objections to the PSI report? State?
No, Your Honor.
Any objections from the defense to the PSI report?
We do have some things we'd like to address, Judge, regarding the recommendations and some of the material that was in there. But short of that, no other objections.
All right. State, you may proceed.
Your Honor, in this case, after careful consideration and meetings with the victim's family and multiple conversations back and forth, a look at the evidence, we felt that the best path forward, despite the gravity of this offense, was a recommendation of probation for a long period of time so that this defendant, who is young, who does not have criminal history, could get his life together and hopefully turn his life around despite this terrible tragedy. The only thing the state would say after reviewing the PSI, and obviously defense will have a chance to speak to this because I understand there was additional information that they submitted. The state was a little disappointed in the way that the defendant talked about some of the offenses. I don't know if that was just a strategic move, but according to the PSI, he doesn't believe he needs help. At this point, the state feels like he needs more supervision than outpatient based on some of those answers. And obviously defense can speak to that, but either way, this is a gift he's been given. And we want to make sure that for the safety of the community, that he has the proper tools in place to be successful on community supervision.
All right, and defense?
Your Honor, we very much agree, and Matthew agrees with the notion that this is God's grace and a blessing that he has been given a recommendation of probation. And he understands, and something that he was very important to him was to make sure that I addressed the role that Aldo Rey's family played in the state coming to this decision, and he does not take that lightly. One thing I want to say, just to be very clear about this, is that I know that Matthew was not being evasive in this interview whatsoever, or trying to avoid responsibility. Having spoken to him at least half a dozen times by Zoom and in person, and his mother and his father being in meetings with me, we've been very, very involved with each other during the pendency of this case. It took him a long time to warm up to me. When I tell the court that he is shy, that is truly an understatement. I think that there is a nice gooey center within him that we've kind of gotten to, but he comes from, I have family from the same area. He comes from an area where I think it is impressed upon people that expressing your emotions is like imposing upon them. Country folks aren't quite like city folks, and Uvalde's not a small town, but it's not a big town either. And that's where he's from. But he has always been very direct. When we first met, I was very clear to him. I was like, always be very direct with me, always be honest in any of your interactions. And he's taking that to heart. We've had some very frank and very productive conversations throughout this, in which he's expressed just the extreme level of remorse that is in the packet that we've sent the court regarding this sentencing. I almost feel embarrassed to say this, but I'll tell the court exactly what my instructions were to him. I know that he gets nervous when he speaks. And so I told him, I remember I have a note about it. It says, I told him, whatever you do, be honest, be yourself. And if you were asked a question that you don't have a good answer to, don't speculate. Don't add anything to it if you don't know something. And I think he took that quite literally in the interview. His parents happened to both be in the interview when he was there. They're here in the office along with us two. And they were able to kind of explain how things went. His father had even told me that at a certain point, she was asking him, the person doing the interview, about his hobbies. And his dad kind of had to prompt him, because he was very quiet and almost like a deer in the headlights. And he's like, talking about fishing and baseball. Oh, and he's like, okay, fishing and baseball. It was that type of thing where I think that he was not trying to be evasive whatsoever. That is not the Matthew that I know. And as evidenced by the letters that were provided to the court, that's not the Matthew that he is. And so it's always nerve-wracking to get these reports that can't give you the nuance that is what reality has regularly. So I wanted the court to be very aware of that. We had a meeting yesterday about all aspects of this, and I want you to know that he was very clear that whatever is asked of him, he'd gladly take on. He feels that he can learn from every single aspect of this. And so I don't think what he was trying to do was avoid or be strategic whatsoever when it comes to not needing to do anything. I think he was just trying to follow my instructions. And him being young and not much of a talker, I think he just was very straightforward on that. I don't think there's any indication in the PSI that he was trying to avoid any any interpretation that or impression that he was not using, or that he wants to use, or that he doesn't want to take on any responsibility for this. I think quite the opposite, Judge. Regarding the recommendations of the TAPN and the PSI, I can tell the court that on several different occasions, it has been very clearly said to me, and I believe it wholeheartedly, he will never drink alcohol ever again. He will never use an illicit substance. This, what I put in the summary that was put on the sentencing memorandum is very true, which is we said it like this yesterday. Every person has a cross to bear. Every person, a lot of people go through miserable times trying to find their purpose. And part of the blessings of this, along with Aldo Rey's family being so gracious, is he knows now what his purpose is in life. And that is to live his life in honor of his best friend and make every single decision in his life with that in mind. And he's a very stoic person. I've met his dad, and it's very much like that too. And I know that I can hear him getting emotional next to me, which is a lot. I can tell the court. But that is who is sitting beside him. One part of this that I think was important, that his mother and father, who are here, and his siblings are in here as well, and especially him. It was interesting. I was, as an attorney, you try to sit and say, like, I'm here to talk about all the great things about you. And he was very much like, we don't have to talk so much about all these great things. I'd rather we focus on Aldo Rey and how great he was. And I was like, well, it doesn't quite work like that. Like, I'm going to have to say some things on your behalf. And he understands that part of it, but that spoke volumes to me about who he is. He is a very quiet person. And as we've gotten to have these conversations, the thing that really spurred everything on for us to be able to have more clear dialogues is when I just asked him, why don't you just tell me about what it was like growing up with Aldo Rey? And that's when he really started talking. He became animated. It just flowed after that point. And, I was sitting down trying to take as many notes as possible about little things that they had done. And I tried to put a little bit of that in the summary. And you may see that in the letters that are before you, Your Honor. But they were there for each other. And to be the cause of the loss of someone that special, you better believe that he's never going to forget that. And that is going to be the engine which keeps him completely on track, well beyond the ending of community supervision. I do not believe that an inpatient or facility is going to serve him on. I don't think that it's as necessary as maybe the state mentioned. I do believe that he will take on an intensive outpatient treatment with Verve, and he's going to do very well with that. When he said to the PSI officer, it was interesting because they were explaining to me how the interview went. It was a lot more open, and his nerves. I think his mother, who's here, can vouch for this. That the interviewer said, "I can tell he's very shy," but he was trying to be very clear about not wanting to say things that weren't true, and that he does not use. When asked about whether he has a substance abuse problem, there's always that part of me that wants us to play the game, so to speak. It's like, well, say that you do. Say that you do. It sounds good. It sounds, but I've asked him several different times, and I do believe it to be true, and I think the court will see this. He does not use and will not use any substances at all. It's that simple for him, but he will gladly do anything asked of him by the court. I think the last thing I really wanted to say is, well, two things. One is that he mentioned that, you know, there was a part of him that really wanted to, sometimes just wanted to die, to look away from all of this. And he himself was the one that said he knew he needed to face it and walk toward it. And the one thing he wanted to say that I thought was moving to me is he said decades from now, even when he's an old man, if Aldo Ray's family ever decided that they wanted to speak to him, needed something from him, he would always be there. It's a very poetic thing to come from a person like him. And I believe it. I think that's all I have, Judge.
Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor, we just ask that you follow the recommendations for some sort of inpatient treatment. I think that's the only thing we're disagreeing on at this point. We do have victim impact statements later, but that's it from the state at this point.
There is, I'm sorry, Your Honor, there is one more thing, I'm sorry, that I need to address, and I believe I had a conversation that went with the state at this, and I think we're in agreement in asking the court, as far as the 120-day jail provisions in the statute, we are asking, because he's been on house arrest during the entire pendency of this case, we ask that he be allowed to continue on ELM so he keeps his job and is able to enroll in school and continue as he's doing in Uvalde. He's been going on the straight and narrow and been doing quite a bit to make sure that everything is that he's getting a move on when it comes to taking care of his responsibilities.
Mr. Velasquez, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Matthew Isaiah Velasquez.
All right, if you're drug tested today, and when I say drug tested, I mean drug tested for marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, any type of drug that is illegal, what are the results going to be?
Clean.
All right, when's the last time you used marijuana?
The night before the accident.
All right, anybody else have any other questions?
Your Honor, the state does.
Yes.
Mr. Velasquez, in the PSI report, when you were answering questions, the PSI officer, and they asked you to talk about the accident, you said, I can't remember. Is that correct? Is that what you said? That's all you said about this accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that really the case? You can't remember a single thing about the accident?
I can.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again?
I can.
You can?
Yes, ma'am.
But you chose not to provide that information in the PSI report to the judge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it still your testimony that you do not have a problem with substances at all?
To be honest.
Yes, no, sir.
She's asking, is it still?
Mr. Velasquez, you need to make sure you answer the question that's being asked of you.
Yes, ma'am.
He just asked me, Judge, to, I guess, explain the question, but if you want to ask it again, Meredith, I'm sorry.
I'll try asking it again. Mr. Velasquez, you told the PSI officer that you did not have a problem with substances at all. Is that still what you're telling this court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you understand that because of the graciousness of the Flores family, you're getting an opportunity to stay out of prison and be on probation for intoxication manslaughter. You understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And substances did play a part in this accident, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it would make sense that as part of your probation, you would need to go through extensive therapy to treat your addiction issues, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions, Judge.
Okay. I read in the defense's packet that the defendant is from Uvalde. Is he living in Uvalde? Is he not living in Uvalde?
He is, Your Honor. He lives with his father in Uvalde.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. As previously stated, the court found you guilty. The court will sentence you to 10 years in prison, suspended and probated for 10 years, $1,500 fine probated, restitution, if any, to Griselda Flores and to SAPD for blood testing, 200 hours of community service restitution. The court will waive 40 of those hours if you have obtained the COVID vaccine and provide proof of that to probation. The court is not requiring that anyone get the COVID vaccine, but if you have obtained it or at any point, if you produce that to probation, then probation will deduct 40 hours of community service restitution hours. The court will not allow the defendant to buy out the remaining of those hours. So the remaining of the hours will have to do those, Mr. Velasquez. 200 days GPS in lieu of 120 days in the Bexar County Jail due to the COVID pandemic. DWI education, VIP live, ignition interlock. Does anyone want to speak on the terms of ignition interlock? The state is requesting half.
Your Honor, we had a short conversation about that some time ago during our conferences, and of course, we're fine with doing whatever the court sees fit on that. What we would ask, just because of the expense, and we understand part of that, is to be able to have maybe an assessment scheduled when the court sees fit, maybe every 2 years, maybe every year after 2 years, or after half of the term, I'm sorry. So maybe have an assessment done at half the term or before that point, whatever the court thinks is.
Okay, because the court was thinking that maybe ignition interlock may need to be longer. So the court will order ignition interlock for half the term. And at that time, we can have a review. Defense, you'll need to file a motion. And what I'm going to put on here is I'm ordering ignition interlock, period. And I'm not ordering it for half the term. I'm just ordering ignition interlock. But I will note that at half term defense, you can file a motion, make sure the state is served with your motion, and we'll see where we are at that time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We're going to do regular UAs for 90 days. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't read my writing. It's just regular UAs and 90 days driver's license suspension. Are you asking that the probation be transferred to Uvalde?
We are, Your Honor.
All right, transfer probation to Uvalde, Texas. What county is that?
It's Uvalde County.
Ha! Brenna, now everybody know I'm not originally from Texas. I deal with parishes. So transfer to Uvalde, Texas. However, Mr. Velasquez, you are not supervised or transferred to Uvalde, Texas until they accept you there. It's going to be regular reporting by Zoom. If for any reason you can't report by Zoom, then it'll need to be in person. I'm going to want field visits 2 times per month, random. Proof of employment within 30 days, no employment as a home healthcare provider or with minors. Do you have any children, Mr. Velasquez?
No, ma'am.
Rebecca, is there anything else that I'm sorry. We're going to start you off on intensive outpatient treatment and see where we are after a significant period of time. Rebecca, is there anything else that Mr. Velasquez needs?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Velasquez, is there anything else that you need in order to be successful in this probation?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Velasquez, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record, Mr. Velasquez. This is why I tell people time and time again, if you're going to drink, don't drive. Don't be a designated driver if you're going to drink. And if somebody's driving, somebody needs to be the person who says they're going to be a designated driver and they don't drink at all. I'm always the designated driver because I don't drink. I think it tastes nasty. But now you're in a situation where you don't have your best friend anymore because one, somebody decided to give you alcohol. You're underage. And then you decided to take alcohol. And then we're here today with an accident. Nobody, and I think I can safely say this, it's an assumption on my part. I don't think anybody ever takes a drink of alcohol and thinks, I'm taking a drink of alcohol so I can get in the car and kill somebody, especially not their best friend. But we're here because you decided to drink and drive. All right, Meredith, who's here for victim impact?
We have Aldo Ray's parents, Judge. It's under Griselda Flores.
Okay. All right, Mr. Velasquez, the Floreses are going to speak to you, hear what they're saying, and internalize it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to remove myself from the spotlight and remove Brenna from the spotlight so you can focus on them, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the Floreses, you may proceed if you will unmute. If you could unmute yourself, please. There you are.
Okay, here we are. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. It's a long one. Apologize. Honestly, Matthew, I don't think that there is anything that I could say to make our circumstances any better. And there's no nice way of me stating what I have to say without feeling, or without you feeling a bit of a sting in your soul. Our son, our brother, grandson, nephew, cousin, godson, godbrother, your best friend, and longtime childhood friend are basically our sunshine. The reason we breathe, he was our everything, our gift, and of course, our prince. He's gone. A piece of our heart was taken early Sunday morning when you refused to let someone else take the wheel. We will never be the same. The decision you made in that split second has changed our lives forever, along with your families. Matthew, know that you have a second chance. We don't have a second chance, but you, Raul, and your families do. This is just a bump on the road for you all. You can get up and dust yourself off and try again. This is your chance to make up for your mistake. Do something about it and show us your worth. What would Aldo be doing now? I'm sure making something of himself, because that was his biggest goal in life, to become someone and prove to many of us that he was going to be a successful businessman and a millionaire. And we all know that he would have fulfilled that dream if he had the chance. He was a go-getter and beyond intelligent. We all know that game is over for Aldo, but not you. You're lucky because you have the second chance to make something of yourself. Your mother and father are lucky because they will hopefully see you graduate from college, or perhaps watch you earn a career if you decide to go a different route. Your mother will have that last mother and son dance at your wedding. Your father will get to smoke a cigar or drink beer when your first child is born. Your sister will get a chance to spoil your children and be the best tia ever, but Gabby won't. Your brother will go to play ball with his niece and nephew, and again, Gabby won't. All that was taken away from us when you took the keys away from Raul, the sober one. I don't know if he was really frightened or just plain dumb. Theo, as he called you. Aldo was your childhood friend since the age of 4. I looked through his photo box and there are hundreds of pictures of you and him. He was more than a friend. He was your brother and looked after you and kept you out of trouble. I know that he was not in talking terms with you for a while because you had done him wrong, but he made amends with you and was able to forgive you before he left us. You were so damn lucky, and there must be a reason why he chose to forgive you. You got a farewell and was able to spend the last days of his life with him. All I got was a silly text asking for money. When he called me that night and said he was with you, I wondered why, but I didn't make a big deal because the fact that he called me and told me his plans for that night was enough for me. Perhaps I let my guard down that night, only God knows. I can't remain angry with you because we both know that my son would not have it. He was the good guy, the one who made sure everyone was included in the plan. According to him, no one should ever be left out. All were welcome and accepted in his small dynasty. He was your go-to and protector for many years, and we know he defended you on several occasions. He never left you hanging. 2 weeks before his passing, he made sure you made it home safe twice. You were lucky to have a friend like my son. He saved you, and you owe him. You owe us. Eric and Alfred, you owe us too. I ask that you put all things aside and take care of your children. They're still young and need your guidance, that you step up to the plate and guide them in the right direction. Don't let them stray. When you brought them into this world, they became your priority. You must put other things aside and nurture them into responsible adults. Your son was lost, and now he is broken because he will have to live with the fact that he is the reason our boy, his friend, is gone forever. Take care of him and make sure that he gets it together. He should not be a burden to you all or anyone. Matthew, know that I don't hate you, and I pray for you because my boy loved his friends more than anything in the world. You were blessed to be loved by such a great man. I hope you know that Aldo has been watching over you these past 19 months. I'm a strong believer of signs, and not once has he sent me one of hate or vengeance. I feel nothing but pain and pity for you. I know for a fact that if Aldo was in your shoes, he would not be able to live with himself. When we were asked for our opinion in the case, my first thought was Aldo. What would I want for my son if he was in your shoes? I would want the pain and the sorrow to be lifted off his shoulders and to truly be forgiven for his mistake. I would not want him locked up and changed forever. No one deserves to live with such pain and guilt. Matthew, the one thing that truly bothers me is that he died alone and no one reached out to hold him. My boy died alone and I did not get to hold him or see him. According to witnesses, you did not approach his body, but yet he ceased to leave your side. You're truly blessed to have an angel like Aldo. Today you are saved by him once again. Perhaps one day I will get the accounts of my boy's last day from you and Raul. You both owe us that much. And next time you decide to drink, remember that you are the reason Aldo won't be able to give you a lift anywhere. The worst part of all this is living the rest of our lives without our son and brother. The fact that it will be a long time before we meet again because Griselda has a lot of people that depend on her. The pain and emptiness is unbearable, something I would not wish my worst enemy. Bless you, Matthew, and the Velasquez family. You are very lucky to have each other.
Matthew,
Yes, sir.
not a day goes by that I don't remember that phone call. In that instance, everything was taken from me. You changed so many lives. You changed mine. I will never be the same. The only reason that we went through this plea bargain is because I did not want to put my family through the trial of seeing photos of Alder A. If it was up to me, we would have gone to trial, but I had to think of my family. You have a second chance, Matthew. Make the best of it. And when your attorney says that it may be decades and decades before we can talk, that's me. Maybe my wife can talk to you sooner, but I don't know if I can. Take care of yourself and do good in your life. God bless you.
All right, Meredith, is there anyone else?
I don't believe so, right, Griselda?
No, Gabriela, I don't think so.
All right, let me check. I'll check to see if there's anyone else on the screen. And there's someone here listed as Gabby,
Yes.
G-A-B-Y.
Yes, that's her. That's her sister.
Did Gabby wish to speak or no?
I don't think so, ma'am.
All right. Gabby, if you wish to speak, you can unmute yourself, but if you do not wish to speak, then I'm going to allow Mr. Velasquez to go to the breakout room with probation. Do y'all know if she wishes to speak or no? Meredith or the floor is?
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes people can't work the equipment correctly.
No, she's not.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Velasquez, I'm going to send you to a breakout room with probation. Probation is going to go over the conditions with you. And Mr. Velasquez, I know it goes without saying, you're not to drink any alcohol for the duration of this probation. And marijuana, that's a no-no. I know that they're doing different things in other states, but here in Texas, that's not allowed. So there's no vaping, no coming back to this court saying it was CBC, my retainers, telling me that it was some type of you're not allowed to do that. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 2 with probation, and probation will go over conditions with you.
Thank you.
All right.
Your
And
Honor,
with, yes,
can I be put into a breakout room with Griselda and her husband?
yes, I'll send you to breakout room number 3